I don't even have to ask you what we're talking about today, because we're talking about monsters.
Hey, welcome to the first Monster Monday.
First ever.
And we figured, the first Monster Monday should be the first enemy most people fight.
Which is why we're doing an episode about beholders.
All right, so now the eye stalks. We're going to be talking about, the smallest of the small, the minionest of the minionist.
The minions of minions.
The toadies of toadies.
Ugh.
Kobolds.
There it is.
There it is. That being said, I as a DM and as a player have never in my life
Which is
encountered or used kobolds.
Which is so funny to me. Because the first time that I played D&D as a player, I encountered kobolds. And the first time that I DM'd, I used kobolds.
I fought many goblins in my day.
Okay.
Bandits.
Yep.
Raiders. Cultists.
Yep. Cultists. Yep.
Never
kobolds.
Never a kobold. That being said, I have a lot of respect for kobolds.
They're like the titular thing.
And ever since so long ago, when a certain Tucker, not actually his name, but ever since Tucker's Kobolds have been released, which, by the way, is November 1987 in Dragon Magazine issue number 127, the first time I read about Tucker's Kobolds, it kind of like fundamentally changed the way I thought about monsters. I had never even considered throwing, 6 kobolds versus 3 level 3s, because you're gonna destroy them. But yeah. I think that's the first time that I started to take in that battles aren't meant to be static, and that terrain and location is as important as the enemy that you're fighting.
Absolutely.
And I never would have known without these scaly little crocodile-faced hooligans.
They've got like dog snouts in this art.
They're weird. So, let's just do a little once-over. Let's give the viewers what they want to know about the kobolds.
Sure.
So, kobolds are small-scaled humanoids that are very, very distantly related to dragons. We're talking like...
Even that's a bit controversial.
Yeah, well, it's canon. They're supposed to be related to to dragons. Something I can appreciate about kobolds is their relative lack of a real home, because it just means you can put them anywhere.
Yeah, literally.
There were 3.5 and 3rd edition kobold variants released for aquatic, arctic, desert, jungle, earth kobolds.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, the plane of earth kobold.
They're like the termite of
they're
D&D.
They're the Asian ladybug of D&D, or the lionfish,
the cockroach.
Yeah, which is good, because I also used to just kind of I never really read much about the monsters. I looked at a stat block and I said, oh, these are cool, I'm gonna put them in. So my players were on a tropical island and they were fighting some bandits, and they killed all the bandits, and then they turned around and all of the bandit corpses had created a zombie beholder.
Naturally.
Yeah, as one does. And that's not really how that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, no.
But if there were just kobolds there, yeah. They're there now.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're always digging.
You gotta give them. They're the bread and butter.
Definitely.
There's a rule in writing that says if you don't know what's happening, have a man with a gun come running in through the door.
Yep.
But you could just have, a kobold flailing a mine and pick around.
Come up from the ground.
As well as kobolds are the OG monsters. Way back when Gary first put together, the white box, the first ever Dungeons and Dragons, kobolds were there.
Yeah.
And they have also been, first of all, they've been a monster since that long, and as a playable race, they were introduced in Dragon Magazine issue 141 back in 1989. So, not even 2 years, well, closer to a year from when Tucker's Kobolds was first released. People were like, oh, maybe there's more to these bad boys than we thought. So it's very interesting. Unfortunately, in 5th edition, I felt like a lot of the rich Kobold history has kind of been overlooked. In the monster manual itself, there's only 2 Kobold entries right away, where it's, Kobolds and winged Kobolds, otherwise known as Urds.
Yeah,
they're Xanathars.
It's a basic.
Xanathars, Volos.
It's a basic first level encounter.
Yes, it definitely is.
Your players have found themselves in dropped in a dungeon.
You wake up with no memory of how you got there.
Exactly. And what's waiting for you when you awaken?
Kobolds.
Volos
fixed this and also started to give us more of the Kobold backstory. So now, Scale Sorcerers, Dragon Shields, Tinkerers, I believe they're called, Kobold Tinkerers. But I still feel like a lot of the flavor has been kind of passed over.
Yeah.
Kobolds actually can live quite a long time. Their average lifespan's around 120 years, except Kobolds very rarely reach that naturally.
Well,
because of they
have 5 hit points.
Yes, they do have 5 hit points. They're not exactly the smartest creatures either.
No.
But they're wily. That's the thing. Goblin, Kobold societies are headed by something called the All Watcher, which is the eldest Kobold. Usually also a Scale Sorcerer. These are the people that head the various plannings of it. Another interesting fact that I found when I was doing a quick little study on Kobolds, the Scale Sorcerers, one of their main duties is the hatchery. Their job is to make sure that these eggs come forth as new Kobolds, and that's because of the god that they're supposed to worship. So obviously, the Monster Manual almost exclusively talks of Kobolds as minions of dragons.
Yes.
But that wasn't necessarily true in older editions.
Okay.
There was a demigod, and I'm going to butcher its name, so excuse me, Kurtlemock, who...
Kurtlemock.
Kurtlemock, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the demigod that Kobolds would worship. And the reason that the Scale Sorcerers look over the eggs is because this is supposed to be one of the demigods of life and birth. But the gnomish god snuck in to Tiamat's hoard, stole a trinket, and then it was on Kurtlemock to chase the gnomish god, who trapped the Kurtlemock underground in an eternal labyrinth. And I suppose that's a good enough reason for it not to be in 5th edition.
Yeah.
But you get to miss out on this whole story of, these All Watchers and Scale Sorcerers all working together to try and finish the ritual incantation to help Kurtlemock escape the Eternal Labyrinth.
It gives them some forward momentum. Some.
I feel like you're not the biggest fan of Kobolds. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting right now.
They're a great first level encounter. But for the most part, I feel like, I don't know, anytime I've used them, it's been in the service of a dragon.
Okay. Have you ever read Tucker's Kobolds?
No.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, I have yet to use a Kobold in its I've never used an actual Kobold before. But I have taken the principle of Tucker's Kobolds. And what Tucker's Kobolds was, imagine a mine where the first mine shaft is 5 feet wide by 5 feet tall.
Okay.
So just barely enough for a medium creature to get through it. As you walk through, you start to notice that the sides have small slits in them, just wide enough for the tip of a crossbow to be pointed through.
Okay.
The area is much too small for a wizard to cast off its AoE effects, and all of a sudden you start getting peppered by rounds of arrows on either side, but you can't see where the Kobolds are because they're just puny little slits.
Yeah.
So you begin to run, And then this funnels you into a large, like, downward sloping chamber, which they then begin to fill with refuse and rock that they've mined out. And these are the kind of tactics. They've lived here for their entire lives.
Yeah.
They've spawned these colonies
Yeah.
of hordes of kobolds in here. They know what's going on, and you don't.
Yeah.
So this is how, you know, 6 level 6 characters, or whatever the original story was, almost TPK'd because of a handful of kobolds in a mine. And that was the kind of ingenuity where, if you look at the stat block for what it is, you know, it's 5 hit points, 9 AC, just awful.
Yeah.
But they're not supposed to be hit.
Yeah. No, I guess I see where you're coming from. Yeah, like I said, I've only ever used them in a straight encounter.
Fair enough.
There's 3 kobolds in the room. They've all got a dagger going. And
they have a candle lit on their heads.
Yep.
Shout out to my World of Warcraft players. My favorite line that I found when studying kobolds is that they're apparently quite odoriferous.
Okay.
They smell like damp dogs and stagnant water.
Ew.
That's a yucky. That's a no good.
My favorite thing that I read about them was that amongst the kobold people, there very rarely are healers because they have such low hit points that usually when they get hit, they just die outright.
That's hilarious. And
so there's no point in having that.
Why would there be, right?
Yeah.
I really like the dynamic between even like inter-kobold relationships.
Yeah.
Kobolds are fiercely territorial, and they're essentially like war bands. And within these war bands, there are clans. So you would belong to, like, you know, I think the monster manual names are like the Torturers and like just awful names for these. But that's your clan.
Yeah.
And you are given a part of land, and you patrol that land, and that is your land and your land alone, which is like a very interesting concept, and it's one that we've seen in like world history before. These constantly warring tribes of people. It's happened all over the world, right? Of
course.
And so you could. The way that I tend to run my games is that I tend to subdivide the levels, and each set of levels usually has like a main end goal. So like levels 1 to 4, levels 5 to 8, 8 to 11, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So those like first 2 prime spots of levels 1 through 8, so like 1 through 4 and 5 to 8, those are the really levels that, like, when you have your new players, you set the tone, you build them up, you see how they're going to see the world. I think that is a prime time to let kobolds go.
Yeah.
And I have a 3-tiered method to thinking of monsters.
Right.
And I've explained this to you before.
Yes.
So I see a monster as either an encounter, an enemy, or a boss.
Right.
So if I'm, you know, walking down the road and a bandit attacks me, that's an encounter. But if I get to the nearest town and find out these bandits do it all the time, and I'm tasked by the local militia to go clear them out, suddenly these bandits are now my enemy. It's gone from a random one-off thing to a recurring segment. And then if I find out that these, you know, bandits are actually trying to, you know, awaken Cthulhu and bring it upon the world, now it's the boss.
Yeah.
So these first 4 levels of my campaign would be spent, you know, I go to the town, I fight all these bandits, I interrupt the ritual, good. So I think kobolds are almost exclusively used as encounters, and I think they're never seen as enemies or bosses. And I definitely think that, you know, 2 roving packs of kobold warbands fighting over no man's land where the dwarvish miners are trying to get out the gold, that's a great plot hook.
Yeah, no, of course.
That's like the first few levels spent, you know, burrowing in mines that are always changing.
Yep.
Fluid-like mine shafts, as the kobolds are known for.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it, though.
No, I can see it. I can see it clearly. That's better than 3 kobolds in a room.
Yeah. And like I said, Volo's definitely helped that. Because
help flush out
what was going on.
Yeah, because the monster manual briefly touched on what it is they do in like their day to day, but Volos really took that a step further.
Yeah, like when you start reading and you realize the larger Kobold settlements have hatcheries and they have rooms dedicated to agriculture and livestock.
Yep.
They're a people.
Yeah.
They're rudimentary.
The roles that are divvied up from kobold to kobold.
It's very ant-like.
Yes, it is. It is incredibly ant-like.
And I think that, humans have at least, this is going to sound weird, I have a respect for ants.
Oh, absolutely.
You ever seen those like videos of ants making rafts out of themselves?
I went through a period in my life when I just watched ant videos. Just ant videos, ant documentaries.
Today's episode of Stat Block sponsored by ants. The letter A. That is the noise an ant makes, apparently. But also just with giving DMs more stat blocks.
Yeah.
Introducing kobolds to magic. There's a great quote in Volos. It's like one of the little sticky notes. It says, kobolds are super cute until they start learning fireballs.
Yep.
And that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, that really plays into this idea of, they don't really know what they're, like, really doing all the time.
Yeah.
But
they have a goal.
They do have a goal. And they're willing to do anything for it.
Yes.
Which is super cool.
Yes.
I like the idea, like I was talking about earlier, of, like, warring kobold bands.
Yeah.
Because then you could set up like a temporary alliance with kobolds, which is something that's not really done that often, right? It's turning the enemy. I think every player is like, your DM describes short, scaly or like humanoid things. And you're like, oh, well, my sword's already out and threw one of them, right?
Exactly.
But that's where you get to turn that on its head.
Yeah.
Or you can create the interesting dynamic. Like I've talked about Urds already. The winged kobolds blessed with Tiamat's power of flight. They're hated in the kobold community.
Oh, yeah.
They're revered for their power, but they're seen as outsiders. Excuse me. Kobolds actually prefer exile over execution. That's seen as like a worse punishment.
Okay.
So to be exiled, so you might see like a belligerent winged kobold willing to strike revenge upon its colony. And it's another way.
That's an interesting lead, actually.
It's another way and flavor of introducing a kobold that doesn't have to be, take candle.
Yeah. That's definitely better than 3 kobolds in a room.
But that's the thing, is that, like, I think that you fell into a trap that a lot of people do, because there's not a lot there to go off of.
Yeah, no.
It's, you read these things, they're pitiful.
Yeah, they're absolutely...
They're awful.
Yeah.
They're CR, what, 1/8?
Yeah, 1/8.
I think the only thing actually worse than them, as far as I can tell, are, well, like, commoners, maybe?
Right.
Yeah. I don't remember if it's dretches or mains.
Okay.
They're essentially just like big bloated demons. CR 1/8.
Okay.
7 hit points. 8 AC. Just awful. But I almost TPK'd my party with 7 of them versus 3 level 3s. Because I applied Kobold's Tuckers to these enemies.
Okay.
And I think that's the big takeaway that should be taken here, is that it's really easy to fall into a trap of seeing an enemy and being, it should be here. What I think is that it should be, you have an enemy and how can I place it somewhere?
Right.
Not like it should be here, but why or how would it be here? And then that's where you start to be able to think like, why is there a kobold in the sewer system of the city? What is their end goal there?
Yeah.
And then you start to think, well, would that mean that something's going on beneath the city? Something that they want a part of? Perhaps now you can throw in, like, there's a rumor of a treasure trail beneath the city, which these kobolds are looking after. And then you realize it's really a front for the Thieves Guild that is soliciting poison under market. And again, that was just right off the cuff, right? So that was nothing special, whatever. Everyone.
Yeah.
But it's these kind of ideas that I am now inspired to from these little tiny scaled 3 kobolds in a room.
There it is, 3 ants in a room. Do we want to touch on some stat blocks?
Yeah, sure. We've talked about them in a less mechanical sense. Let's
Yep.
actually get to the meat of a kobold.
The original, the OG.
The OG. Would you like to start?
So the original Kobold 5th edition monster manual entry, small humanoid, lawful evil, AC 12, so not quite as bad as we thought.
True.
But still, hit points 5,
Oh.
or 2d6 minus 2.
Oof.
Speed 30 feet, which is alright. Stats are pretty much all in the negatives. -2 strength, +2 dexterity, which makes sense given their
nimble, small
exactly.
size.
But -1 constitution, -1 intelligence, -2 wisdom, -1 charisma, dark vision, which is an obvious choice given they're a tunneling species. Passive perception 8, which I actually thought would be higher than that.
Well, I mean, it's just 10
Yeah.
plus wisdom.
Yeah.
And if you have a -2 wisdom.
Yeah. And then languages, common and interestingly draconic.
Yeah, I mean, that does tie to their, draconic bloodline.
Yeah.
They are in the same way that the chicken is related to the T-Rex.
Yep.
The kobold is related to the dragon.
That is the perfect way of putting it. And then CR8 or CR1/8, as we had discussed before. Sunlight sensitivity. Obviously, these guys are living underground most of the time, so in sunlight they're going to have disadvantage on their attack rolls and perception checks.
Which is just another reason that they would even be more comfortable in their
own
own terrain.
Exactly. Could try to lure players in, try to avoid that sensitivity.
Yep.
And pack tactics, which is actually a great ability.
It's fantastic.
A lot of great encounters can come out of working with that.
It's fixed flanking.
Yeah, basically.
Yes. We'll get to flanking later.
Don't even talk to me about this.
That is the F word as far as we're concerned.
Listen,
Let's
I'm gonna save it because I know we can do a full episode about it. But I hate flanking so much.
We'll get there.
We will. Back to the kobolds, though. As far as action goes, they have an attack, a regular dagger attack, which is basically exactly what you're expecting. +4 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 target, and then 1d4 +2 piercing. Or an alternate would be a sling attack, which is a ranged, +4 to hit, 1 target, and then 1d4 +2 bludgeoning.
And, for what it's worth, a kobold at level 1 can one-shot a wizard.
Yeah.
If your average wizard
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Or I guess 2, because they would start.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Oh, no, if a wizard had 0 constitution, or any D6 hit dice class had 0 constitution, level 1, kobold can one-shot you.
Yeah.
Or like a lucky crit, you're down.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's possible, especially if you're in the back and kobold makes a sling attack against you. Like,
what are you going to do?
It could very definitely be down.
That being said, very quickly do they fall off.
Yes.
And this is where the basic kobold is, again, it's not meant to be a threatening target in its own. It's when you introduce these environmental and numbers factor that it changes.
They're tacticians.
They're
tacticians.
Stupid ones.
Yes.
But tacticians.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's a variant as well in the monster manual of the winged kobold, or the Erd. AC a little bit higher at 13, hit points a little bit higher at 7, or 3d6 minus 3. Stats remain basically the same, but they have a +3 to dexterity instead of a +2. CR 1/4 instead of 1/8. Sunlight sensitivity, pack tactics, they're staples. They're going to be around. And then they have regular dagger attack. It's a little bit better to hit, a little bit of extra damage on it. But they also have a dropped rock attack.
Oh, fantastic.
Which I think is hilarious.
That's just absolutely perfect.
which I can just imagine a winged kobold like floating over someone's head and just dropping a little boulder on him.
So Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it is.
The anvil falling on Wile E. Coyote's
the
head.
bump growing straight up out of the head.
And like, what a good story of one player gets downed by a rock dropping on its head. You'll never hear the end of that.
Yeah, no.
But these are the kind of things that they're the sessions you remember.
Exactly. So that is a ranged weapon attack, +5 to hit. One target directly below the kobold. On a hit, it's 1d6 +3 bludgeoning damage.
Okay, that's
not
damage.
bad. Not bad at all.
I will also say, as far as I know, that's the only time that line of text gets to be used.
Probably
directly below the target. That's hilarious.
I can't think of anything else that needs to be floating directly above in order for its attack to hit.
Oh man. And like we said earlier, Volos did introduce 3 or 4. I think it's actually.
I think it is 4.
It's 3. Yeah, it's 3 in total. It's just the inventor takes up 2 pages basically.
Okay.
Because they are silly, and we'll get to that in a sec. The Dragon Shield. This is essentially a Kobold took fighter levels.
Okay.
So it's CR1, 44 hit points.
Oh wow.
15 AC.
Okay, that's a lot better than the baseline.
+1 strength, +2 dex, +2 con.
Wow.
Yeah, -1 int, -1 wisdom, and 0 charisma.
That's like better than most PCs.
It is CR1.
Okay.
And right away it has a damage resistance. So this is where Wizards starts to tie in the Draconic influence.
Okay.
So based on what type of kobold it is, either acid, or sorry, if it's black, white, red, blue, or green.
I see.
So the Tiamat colors, I believe the
chromatic.
Yes, because the metallic ones are you're correct. So it follows the chromatic coloring scheme, as well as it has the heart of the dragon. So essentially, what this thing is that it rallies the kobolds around it, and it and any kobolds within 30 feet of it get to retake a failed saving throw that if it's frightened or paralyzed.
Okay.
And so this is again supposed to be like the kind of the war chief.
Yeah.
Has path tactics. Has sunlight sensitivity.
Yep.
Has multi attack.
Oh.
Attacks twice. It is a spear.
Okay.
+3 to hit.
Okay.
So it's actually about on par with the regular kobold.
Yep.
But it is ranged. 1d6 +1 piercing or 1d8 +1 piercing, versatile.
Right.
So that kind of depends on whether or not it's using a shield.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not using a shield, then it only has AC 13, so it kind of brings it in line. But, a couple level 2 PCs with 3 or 4 dragon shields, that is like, if an errant crit or 2 kobolds teaming up on 1 PC, that can lead to a lot of damage very quickly.
Oh yeah, no, that could definitely stockpile. I could almost see, like, if you've got a pretty powerful first level group, pitting them against one of these guys as an enemy, and maybe they've got a couple Goonies.
Yep, some like regular kobolds. Yeah. The one that is distinctly, wearing the leathers. Yeah. Dressed up to the nines. Yeah. That is an encounter.
Yeah. No, I can. Yeah.
Now this next one is just silly.
Wait, do we want to do it last then?
You want to get back to it?
What's the other option?
The sorcerer.
Oh, well, yeah. Let's do the sorcerer next.
Okay. So the sorcerer, AC 15, natural armor.
Oh wow.
It's very dexterous and very constitute, the same as the warrior, but is just much more nimble, I guess.
Okay.
Only 27 hit points, which makes sense.
Yep.
It's a magic wielder and not a fighter.
Yeah.
Still CR1. It gets, dark vision, has its regular bad passive perception score. However, now it is a 3rd level spellcaster. Spell save DC 12 and +4 to hit, so not bad.
Yeah, no.
Cantrips, Firebolt, Mage Hand, Mending, Poison Spray.
Okay.
So 2 kind of more utility, makes sense in the mind.
Yeah.
And 2 powerful ones, Poison Spray and Firebolt. It also has 4 uses of either Charm Person, Chromatic Orb, or Expeditious Retreat,
Okay.
and 2 uses of Scorching Ray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, again, this is CR2. It also has sorcery points. So this is a kobold that is innately magical. Okay? So when it casts a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw, so in this case, I believe that's just Charm Person, it can force the target to have disadvantage on the saving throw, which is powerful.
Yeah.
As well as it can cast spells subtly. So like I was saying earlier, if you have 3 or 4 sorcerers hiding in the darkness, and you subtly cast a Scorching Ray, that's surprise round. They're each attacking you with 3 bolts at advantage apiece. That's a lot of damage. That adds up very quickly.
Oh, you got to be careful of that for sure.
As well as Pack Tactics and Sunlight Sensitivity.
Yes.
And then they do have just the basic +4 to hit dagger as well.
Yep.
Now,
what is it? Intinkerer?
Inventor. Kobold inventors are silly.
Why do they exist?
Great question. I think this is supposed to kind of show the ingenuity,
the resourcefulness.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little blurb. An inventor captures bugs, scoops up exotic dungeon slimes, and claims the best stolen good as ingredients in its experiments. So if that's not already just piquing your interest a little,
yeah,
and then you start reading, and let me tell you, this is a big stat block. I'm not going to be able to read all of it to you, because essentially the only thing that matters is the D8 weapon inventions that the kobold has. Also, as a small note, this kobold is wearing a teacup as a bracelet in this art, which is just phenomenal.
Isn't that what you do?
It's just phenomenal. Let me just read to you the 8 inventions it could possibly have.
Yes.
Because everything else is basically as listed.
Yep.
It is CR a 4th, and it's 13 hit points and 12 AC, so pretty par for the course.
Yeah.
So the kobold can hurl a flask of acid to deal 2d6 damage. Okay. It also has Alchemist's Fire for 1d4 damage and to ignite the target.
Okay.
A Basket of Centipedes, where a swarm of centipedes with 11 hit points emerges.
It all made sense until this.
At the end of each of the swarm's turns, there's a 50% chance the swarm disappears.
What?
Yep. A green slime pot. The target is covered in a patch of green slime. And it just tells you to see Chapter 5 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. And if I remember correctly, the green slime is sticky and it slows you down and it gets in your... It's just
It's just goop.
Yeah, it's goop. You threw flubber at an opponent.
Yeah.
The Rot Grub Pot is essentially very similar to the Basket of Centipedes, but a swarm of rot grubs appear. I don't know if you've ever read the stat block for rot grubs. They're pretty powerful.
Okay.
That's one of the ones that could definitely mess you up.
Sure.
Now, these next 3.
Oh, boy.
They're just downright silly. Let me read you the titles of this.
Sure.
Scorpion on a Stick. Skunk in a Cage. Wasp Nest in a Basket.
Why?
So if you get hit with the scorpion on a stick,
Why?
it's 1 piercing damage.
Why?
And a DC 9 con save, or take 1d8 poison damage. So it's an upgrade to the regular dagger attack, but why?
It's a scorpion.
On a stick.
On a stick.
The skunk in a cage.
Yep.
Is the skunk starts walking around, and on its turn, and I quote, uses its action to spray musk at a random creature within 5 feet of it. DC 9 con save, or this is a serious fail. On a failed save, the target retches and can't take actions for 1 minute.
Wow.
The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns.
That could actually be a game changer.
Yes. So it is, again, only DC 9.
Yeah.
So on average, you will pass it.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where you change the tide of the game.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, remember the time where you failed it 3 times in a row and we almost TPK'd? And finally, the wasp nest in a bag. It's throwable and releases a swarm of wasps that can also just, randomly disperse at the end of its turn.
Yep.
Now, I think I sounded a little critical when I was reading that stat block. I actually really like the Kobold Inventor, and I think it's a step in the right direction because it shows what you can do with them. But I also have the same problem that I do with the Wild Magic Sorcerer, and that just the fact that, why? Some of the... It's a little silly.
Because it's silly.
It is a little silly. But like I said, I can appreciate that it's a step in the right direction.
You know what it's for? A great story later.
Yes.
Remember the time the kobold threw a bag of wasps. It missed on its attack, and then the wasps flew away.
Remember that time that skunk sprayed you? Or the green goop enveloped you? But see, what this actually, in my opinion, leads to is a team of inventors and Urds, and you almost create a drive-by wasp bombing or green goop splattering, similar to a helicopter putting out a forest fire, but instead a winged kobold dropping green slime on our adventurers. And these are the kind of ideas that you can get. The darkened room where 4 scale sorcerers await scorching rays subtly cast at will.
Yeah.
That is a good way to start a combat. That's, on average, probably going to take around 10, 12 hit points away from each of your PCs, assuming that, 2 out of 3 hit, roughly, and you have 4 PCs, and they deal around 6 damage, 8 damage maybe.
Yeah.
So, that's a perilous combat. So maybe you should rethink your 3 kobolds in a room.
Well, now I just want to put 3 inventors in a room and see what happens.
Keep rolling D8s every turn.
Well, I think that about does it.
I think that I've said my piece.
Yeah.
I'm not specifically a kobold fan, but I'm now...
You can see where their utility lies.
Yeah, I'm a fan of breaking the mold.
Yeah.
And I can thank Tucker's Kobolds for that.
Yeah. No,
That's actually a homework for any listener.
Yeah.
Go read Tucker's Kobold. You'll probably find some awful website from the 80s somewhere that hosts the text, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Read it, learn from it, become a better DM like I did from it.
And whatever you do, never pit your adventures against 3 kobolds in a room.